Hello guys, today's video I'm going to show you how to create a web application with Google Apps Script. So here is a one I built in a Google Sheet. Is a web application for people information. So this is a very simple form. So here we have the ID, first name, last name, and the gender. We also have the email, phone, address, cities, and country. So you can add more information if you want to add. And this spreadsheet will be the database. So here is the application, is a web application. So here we can search the ID. So the ID will be in the column A. So if I do a search with the test, so the first one, test01, I try to search that test01. Let's do search. So if we found a record in our database, we will put all the informations, okay, and fill this form. And of course, this ID cannot be added. So I cannot edit this ID here. And you can change the information if you need. Let's say we change the gender to female and change the number to 10120 and you do submit. Okay, so the changes have been saved to my Google Sheet, I think. Let's see what happens. So I changed the gender to female and changed the phone to 120, right? So if you have any new IDs entered here, you do a search test02, you do a search. Okay, so we get this message. So no result was found in people. So you need to enter your information and you choose ID. This ID is not in system, so you can use that ID. So let's name it Perry, or a last name, my last name, and gender female, email address as Perry add something example. Okay, you do phone 10, address will be LH, city will be Shenzhen, and country will be China. Okay, and you do this submit. Alright, so if I go to the database, right, you now have the data in your spreadsheet, and you also you can cancel. Okay, so if you cancel this, you will not save the data to your database, right? So this is a basic function for this web application, and I'm going to show you how to build this, and you also can add more functions to this web application, and you can do much more. This is very simple, just the idea. I want to show you how to build a web application with AppScript. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to build this web application step by step. All right, so I'd like to close this one, and I'm going to create a new file, create a new folder, new file. Name it web app. So web app people. Okay. Let's rename this to database. And I'm going to copy this So you can try something else if you like. Okay, and let's go to the script editor. I will show you how to build this in AppScript. Just rename this project to people. Saving. Kind of slow. Alright, so the project is saved. Now the first function we are going to do is function. We are going to do get function. Okay. So we're going to have HTML template. Template will be created from the HTML service and create template, I think, from file. So the file is not created yet. So the template will be indexed. Alright. So I'm going to create this HTML file. So rename it index. So you have to use the name, you put it here. And we're going to return template evaluate. So let's save it, and let's just try to add something to this HTML file. So h1 close h1. So here I'd like to say people. Let's try to test this web page. Okay, so the basic structure for the web application is done, and the next step you're going to do is to publish this web application. Okay, so you deploy it as a web app. You click this and new version. You can add something here for your version. Okay, and here you can choose the access. So here I'd like to choose the third one and deploy. Right now here you have a URL to your web application. So if you like to share this to public, so other people can use this web application. And here I'd like to use this link. This is a test. So it's like, as you can see, the end is a developer mode. So you can test your code here. So now, since I only add here you can see I only had a header line here, people. So there is only people here. So let's continue to build the form in this HTML document. Okay, and I'd like to use the Google add-on CSS. Okay, so just a style for the standard Google add-on style. Okay, you just copy this link, and all these instructions you can find about this CSS is very simple to use, and you can copy the code here. Okay, so I just copied the code to the head tag. Okay, and also you can have your own style, and I'd like to add a style, and I'm going to add a class container. For this container, we're going to have a width, so width will be 60%, and margin auto, and padding R1M and we're going to have a border. I think a border 1 pixel black solid. I will give a background color. Give it EE. Okay, so if you don't know HTML, CSS, and Java, so you maybe need to watch some tutorial, need to learn something about the HTML and CSS. So I'm not very good at that. So I just know how to use it for very simple user scenarios. Okay, so first I'd like to build a container div. So class, so container. Okay, close this div. And in this div, we're going to have another div. So the first div will be the search. Okay, if you see here, we have a search div. Okay, so class will be okay. No. So as first class, so first one, I will get an ID for search div. Okay, we have two divs here. Another one will be the form div. And in the first one, we're going to have you can copy the code from here. Okay, you simply copy this. So for the search, I'd like to change the inline from block, and the label name is going to search ID, and the type will be text, and ID will be, let's say, key. Style, I'm going to remove this style. I'm going to add a placeholder. ID of the people. Also, we need to add a button to do the search, right? So copy this div, and you just remove this line. So change this type to button, and the key will be search. The ID will be search, and you will have the value of the button. So the value will be search, capital S. And you are going to have a function. So if the button is clicked, so we name the function search, and we're going to have add a class for this button. This class will be action. So action is a blue button. So if we go to is a button like this. Okay, so here you have other options, right? So if you use class create, it will be red button, and you also can choose a share button. So here for normal, so primary actions, I use action button. Action button. Let's save. And let's see what it looks like. All right. So basically, so this is done. Since we have, so now the div is nothing there. I'd like to hide the next div, and just add attribute hidden. Okay. And here we also would like to add a message, error messages. Okay, we add a span here. Give it ID. So ID form message, and give it a class. Class will be arrow. So if you give a class arrow, the text will be red. You also can find it here. So you use this class. Let's save it. So I think the search box, the search. Okay, we now have this search div, and next step I'm going to build. So it's very similar. So because I don't want to waste a lot of time on this, I'd like to copy the code here. So very similar steps. I just copy this div to save some time. Okay, I hope you can understand that. So just repeat. Okay, I'm going to do some change here. So the search message, and save and refresh. If we do the search, since I haven't built a function for this button, also we'd like to change some style. If I change the if I change the search div form, if I remove this first and try to run it. So I'm supposed to have both div, right? So the first div for search and the second div for the form, okay. And I'd like to change the width of this input field and this button, and do some modification of my code. So here for input, I'd like to change the width to 200 pixels, and for label, I'd like to change the font weight to bold. Say, let's see what happens. Alright, so we have the same size for the button and the input field, and you also have this label as bold, and you can do almost everything in this file. Because I'm not very good at the style, so you can style your application just as you like. So I'm going to move the function build. So here we're going to have our script. So first function we're going to build is a search function. Okay, here. So before we do the function, I'd like to do some variables like the. So just give a variable and link them to the element in this web page. So here in this web page we need to collect the values for each text input box, right? So I'd like to give a variable name for each of these fields. So it's very simple to do that. So for our document, so var key document, I think it's get element by ID. Since I give a ID for each input field here, as you can see. So for key, we just use a key, right? So key. So now this key is a reference to this element. So you need to do a copy and paste, and I don't want to waste time, so I just copy this. So all the elements we're going to use in our script. So I'm going to change something here. Search div. Just keep it search div. So we have a search div and a form div. So the search div is this div, and we're going to have the form message and search message, and have the key. We also have the ID, first name, last name, gender, email, phone, address, and city and countries. All these fields we're going to use our script. So let's use function search. So when this button is clicked, we are going to check the value of this ID, right? So we're going to run the script. Google script run which function? So we're going to run search function. So don't be confused. These two search functions are not the same function. So if you use the Google script run search, this search function will be in the code GS, right? You need to add a function here. So function search. So this search function will search the value in your database, in your spreadsheet. Okay, we're going to build it later, and go back to the HTML. So search which value, search. Let's do for let's search key. For key, we cannot use key. For ID, so we're going to key value. So this key is this field. Let's do to, and you just put this ID in this search. Okay, so you're going to search this function. All right, so we have some handlers here. So with success handler. So if the key was found, we're going to run another function. So function the result. So in this function, we're going to have the result. This result is from this search function. So let's name it key, and we're going to return var result. I'm going to return the result. Okay. So if we found any result, we're going to run this function. Okay. So in this function, we're going to fill form with the result we found from the database, right? So we are going to have another function fill form. So fill the result to our web application. And let's do this search function first. So before we do the search, I'd like to build another function. Name it get data. So this get data will get the database, get the data from this database, okay, from this spreadsheet. And let's do for worksheet spread get active, cache by name. So name it, just name database. So since I use the database, so you do not change this database, this ship name, or you cannot find this spreadsheet in your code. Okay, so for data, the data will be worksheet get data range. So this get data range will get this range, and get values. I'd like to use the values. Okay, so simply return this data. Okay, so let's do the search for data, get data. Okay, for row I in data. So for each row in this data, we are going to get charge. So for ID, the ID will be data I. So since the data is in the first column, so it starts with 0, so this is ID. So if the ID equals to the key, the result, so the result will be data I. So data I represent the row. If I equals to 1, so the second row will be the data I. Okay, so we'd like to break this loop. So if any result is found, it will be returned as a row. So if nothing was found, it will be an empty array will be returned. Okay. So if so this result is the array which is returned from this function. So if the result is found, we're going to handle a function for the field form function. So let's do this function field form result. First, we need to check if it's anything in this form. So if result length equals to 0, if it equals to 0, that means this is empty array, so nothing there. So that means there is no result was found in this database. So we'd like to okay. I think I missed another variable here. So here we create another array for questions to put all these elements in this array. Okay, so we can use some loop here. So if there is nothing here, we'd like to rewrite this array. So we'd like to use ID. The ID will be the key value. So you just entered in your search field. Since I have 9 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll do the same size. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I only fill this field ID, and the rest of them I will going to leave it as empty. So for I in questions, so these questions here, questions. So questions I. So this I will start from 0. So if I equals to 0, so the question 0 will be ID, so dot value will be the result I. So this result and this question, they have the same size. So the ID will be the key value. The first name will be empty, and the rest of them will be empty. Okay. So we filled the value here, and I'd like to disable. No. Since no, this is a new. This is a new form. Okay. We not need to disable it. So if the result length is not equal to 0, that means there is a data in this result. We only need to do this again without rewrite this result. And we also need to disable the ID field. So ID dot disabled, let's turn it to true, and ID style background color let's just disable it. Okay. Sorry. And after we fill the form, we'd like to hide something. So we hide the query, we hide this div and show this form. Okay, so the search, I think will be this search div, the style, display. To hide something, just to change this attribute to none. And at the same time, you need to show this form style display to block. And here we'd like to change attribute here. So by default, this form will be hidden. Let's refresh. What? Let's try to deploy this again. What's wrong with the? Let's make a new version. Okay. Since I used yeah, so I use some APIs, so I need to authorize for that. Let's try it again. Okay. So let's try to do a search, and with this ID. Something wrong. Let's try in Firefox. Test 01 search. Search is not defined. Okay, you get an error here. Search was not defined. Let's see what happened. my code. Let's go back. Maybe I miss another handler that is for failure handler. So let's refresh and try it again. Which search? This spell is typo, I think. Search for another one. Oh my god. Okay, so this function is, I got a wrong spell for this function. Okay, save it and run again. Refresh. Search. Okay. With failure. Maybe I with failure, with success. Okay, let's try to, let's see what this for this search function. With failure, with success. What's wrong with this? Let's copy this function. It's just the same function, I think. Let's save it and try to see what happens. Okay, now I have something here. Maybe I did some typos in my original function. So if I try, so let's build this cancel function first. So the function cancel. So for this cancel, I'd like to copy this. We all need to display. So the search button changes to block. And I'm going to hide the form. And let's put a message for the form message. Inner HTML will be your action is cancelled. Refresh. Test 01, search, and cancel. Okay. Search, cancel. So now the function, basic function is built. And I think everything is filled from the spreadsheet. So the next function will be, we're gonna be the function to do the submit. So for this submit function, we need to collect the data from each field of this form and save it to our database. Okay. So this idea, we're going to google.run script run. So we're going to run a submit function. So this also is the same. So this function will be defined in the code.js file. And the result. First, we're going to have a result. Will be an array. And let's copy this. So for each questions, okay, the question is a field, so the result. So we just push the result. So push the value to this result. Okay. So we need to submit this result to our database, and you can do with success. If I misspell something, so with success handler, we're going to run function. So just give a message, form message, form message. So message will be your info has been saved. With failure. Let's copy this. So you can do some errors for handling the errors. So it's a function. So you just put E here. Anything else there. So you just do the E dot message. So this will be the error message if anything went wrong. So now I'd like to build this submit function in this code.js. Okay. So function submit. So submit with result. So very similar. For data, get data. For new record, true. So you just copy this. You need to check if the data is new or not. So for each row, you get the ID, and for key, the key will be the result. The first one, 0, okay. So ID is key. So if we found the record, if you found the ID in your database, that means this is not a new record, it's just to update. So the data I, so we just replace the data I with the result. So this is saving, it's not a new record. And you just reset this new record function, new record to false. And finally, and you can break this loop. And finally, at last, so if new record. So if this record is a new record, you only need to append. So the data, you only need to push the result to your database. So this will add a new row in your database. With if the ID is new. Okay, and you finally you write this data to your spreadsheet. So you copy this worksheet, copy this line, and worksheet.get range. Start from cell 1, column 1, rows will be the data dot length. The columns will be data data 0. So the first row, the length will be the columns. Okay, and just set values to the values will be the data. All right, let's save it. So if you run this function and you also, after you submit, you can hide. So you can hide the form div, and you show the search div. Okay, let's refresh. Let's try the. So this is test 1. I'd like to change the gender from female to male. Okay, so the gender will be male, and submit. So your info have been saved, and let's see. So now the change is done, and welcome to test 3. Search. Something wrong. Okay, so the test 3, since this is a new, okay, this is a new record, so we only put this ID here, and this ID is disabled. And now you can do something like let's do first name, name maybe Ashley, Fei, male will be female, gender email address will be test at example com, form 120, address will be LH City China. Let's do submit. Okay, we have test 03. Now we have test 03 here. Okay. I think that's pretty much everything for this project, and you can do much more. I believe I forget some messages for the submit. So for the search, I think if we do a search, for the search here, we have so from div message search message. So here we can add some information here. So field form. So if there is no result in your search, you're going to get a message for HTML. Do no result was found for this ID. Please add your info. And if we found the result, And here you need to enable this ID, so you can add it. And here we found a record for this ID in our database. So just some informations, some messages. Let's try to refresh. Let's try 03 search. Where is the message? Search message. Search message. Search message. Find the search message. Okay, so this is wrong. This is inner HTML, not inner. Okay, a lot of typos. This is live code, so forgive me. Let's try to refresh. Let's do inner. Okay, no inners. Test 03. Okay, now we have this message. And if we do a new, alright, so no result. And here you can be able to edit this field. So since this is a develop mode, and if you need to publish it to public, so you need to do this and make a new version, update. So this URL, you just copy this and share with someone that would like to use this web application. Now they'll be able to use it. So let's do another one. 04. Well, name will be Mike, I guess. FEI. Gender will be male. Email will be someone. Gmail.com. Phone 110. Address will be FT. City will be Shenzhen, and country will be China. And do this submit. While your information has been saved to our database. Okay, so that's it for this video. It might be a very long video. Thanks for your watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.